We're back at the layout here, and I haven't done a layout update for you guys in about 9 months. And I kind of got inspired lately, so I thought I'd show you some of the things that I've been working on. Now, if you remember from the previous videos, this road stopped here at the crossing at the northwest end of the layout. So I finished the rest of the road out to the edge of the layout over both tracks. And I have a blog post that shows you how I did my roads. But basically it's foam core, and I support it with foam underneath and secure it using hot glue. I fill in the edges with foam putty from Woodland Scenics, and then you just paint it. Now the lines on the road, I paint about a 1-inch strip of yellow paint down the middle, and I paint a white strip down each edge, and then let that dry completely. Then I come back and I mask out the lines with 1/8 inch artist tape, and I paint over the whole thing with a neutral gray paint. And later, when you pull up the artist tape that was masking the colors, the lines are magically revealed. So I'm getting pretty good at doing the roads. Some of you following me on YouTube may have seen lately that I've been selling a bunch of these Department 56 Snow Village collectibles on eBay for my sister. Now most of these are not to scale or very well detailed, but I found this radio station and I just had to try to make use of that somewhere. It was nicely detailed, had these neat lights on it, and had that little blinking red light at the top of the antenna. Now it does have some snow on the roof and stuff, but it's not that big of a deal, and I can always paint that gray if needed. But the interior was lit and finely detailed, and I wanted to find a place for it. And I was just working on the layout at this point, and there was nothing in this whole parking lot area. So that's what I started with, and I thought I'd make a parking lot in a way you could get out into the road. And I used Woodland Scenic Smooth It to make the parking lot. And I had to let that dry at least overnight because everything down here in the basement takes a really long time to dry because it's 58 degrees down here in the winter. So glues, paints, plaster, they take way longer to dry than it normally should. But it's okay. I work on this whole thing a little at a time. And the lines are just car pinstriping. I painted the lot black with the asphalt paint from Woodland Scenics. I put some little guys here. This guy's coming out of his cool 1968 Mustang, walking into the office. He must be a DJ or something, or a manager. Then there's these worker bees over here. These are just dudes who come out every hour for a smoke break. They got to burn one every hour. So anyway, I detailed that up really nice, and this is not a low voltage lighting system. These work off 120 volts AC. They have those little bulbs in there, like those old Christmas tree bulbs, but very low wattage. But they don't hook up to the low voltage AC like the rest of our typical accessories and lights. Stock, these run off of 120 AC. So let me go down underneath the layout and show you what I did, because I had to think about it since I was going to run 120 under my layout. Alright, so this thing normally had a plug on it that went into the wall. It wasn't very long. So what I did was I came down and I cut it off here and I spliced it together, and I went over to Home Depot and I bought lamp cord and I spliced it in. I bought like 20 foot of lamp cord and I ran it through all the holes the whole way over to the other side of the layout, and as you can see I marked it everywhere with these little labels I printed because it is 120 AC and it's high voltage, and I'm down here poking around with stuff under the layout and chewing on wires, whatever else I'm doing, and I know I'm going to reach up there and shock myself. So it's really well labeled the whole way across. Let me go over to the other side and show you where I plugged it in. So I got over here to where the power was, and I was going to just put a plug on it and plug it in to the power strip. And I was thinking, oh, I'm going to have to put a switch on it because I might want to turn it on and off. And I realized that I use this computer power supply up here that I wired up so so that all these wires coming off of here, I forget which ones they are now, but there's 12 volt and 5 volt DC, and I use it to power all the lights on the layout. And I remembered that in the back of these things, there's a courtesy plug. You know, you always have your normal AC coming in to the power supply, but there's that backwards plug up here that would normally go out. In the old days, it would go out to the computer monitors, so you could power everything at once. And that's what I did. It's hard to get under here and show you, but I spliced the wire together here and just ran. That goes over to the house, and I plugged it in up there to the courtesy plug. So now, when I hit the button here to turn on my computer power supply for all my lights in my layout, not only does the DC side for all the accessories and stuff come on, but the AC powers up that house or that radio station over there. So that worked out pretty cool. I just realized now that I'm down here, I was going to say you may want to see this, but you probably don't, because you know, I do electrical work and stuff, and it doesn't bother me, but I didn't mark a lot of this stuff. I reused it from my old layout, and it works fine. I mean, I know what everything's going on here, but yeah, I mean, the control panel's over here, and the Z4000, and this is just nasty. Works great. All my little switch machines you can see underneath here. Use tortoise switch machines, and I put these little terminal strips every so often, and you know, I run, I guess, low voltage DC to a bunch of them, and that way there's a bunch of them wherever I needed to wire up some houses, and then I just poked the wires down through, and I always had a supply somewhere close by, almost like running a bus all the way around the layout. Okay, so enough of that. It's a mess, but it works fine. Okay, we're back at this side of the radio station, and just going to completely go around it here for you, around the back. Little chain link fence, some weeds, little trash pile over there. Then I finished up the landscaping and tied it back in to what was already here. So that was that part. Now, obviously, past that and over here into the corner, there had to be something. Now, I always had this milk unloader, or let's say Coke unloader. My sister bought this for me late 90s, and I've never actually used it on a layout, and I wanted to incorporate it into this one. So it's kind of like the old 3472 milk cars. Obviously, it's a little bigger, but it's the same concept. Now I have the wires down here somewhere. I haven't hooked them up yet, but it'll do that where you push the button and it goes wah, 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 and all the milk bottles come out here and fall down and short out on the track. You know how that works. But anyway, my Gargraves track bumper was here, and then I did have this Lionel yard light, but nothing else was here. Sorry, I'm getting in my own light here. So what I did was I wanted a different type of parking lot in this area, and I used Scenic Express cement or concrete. Let me go get it here, and I'll go around the other side and show you this same scene from a different angle. Okay, here's the stuff. It's scale concrete from Scenic Express. And I had a blog post on this a couple years ago when I was using it for the base of the transfer warehouse. It comes in this big bottle. It's not, I guess it looks okay. I don't find it very easy to work with. Again, because it's so cold down here in the basement, it takes everything a long time to dry. And I had to do this whole thing in like a grid pattern and use paving tape and do small sections at a time. And then when I got all done, I had to fill in where the paving tape was on all the grids. In the end, it comes out okay. I didn't have to paint it or anything. It does kind of look like a concrete color. And you can take your X-Acto knife when it's getting a little harder and put cracks and stuff in it for sidewalks or expansion joints. But I just wanted a different look over here, and I wanted to come back and see if it's still a pain to work with. And at least in cold temperatures, it takes it like 2 days, over 2 nights to dry completely, at least down here. So it's real hard to work with. But anyway, I did that, and I had these, I wanted to sort of show that they're offloading the train over here. So I put these 2 trailers here, and it's kind of neat to have some of these little things around, these little woodland scenic scenes with the little people, because whenever you need something, you just go pop one out of the package and figure out where to put it. Got the guy with the forklift there unloading with his helper. There are some things on that trailer. And this guy, he's giving directions to the other guy with the dolly. And I planted my telephone poles in there a long time ago. So what I did was I had this dude here climbing up to do some work on the pole. And then he had to have a truck, of course. So I just got this truck. I got it from MB Klein, modeltrainstuff.com down in Baltimore. It wasn't a lot. I think it was under 15 bucks. But it looks really cool. And then, of course, with the bucket, I put another guy up here working in the bucket. Let me go over here. Maybe it's different lighting. Yeah. I put all those wires on there and hooked them up through the transformer. The concept here is there's a lot going on in this area because the power has to go to these lights. See, so the wiring comes from here over to the telephone pole, and then it continues on. So before we move on, let's one last look at this scene, from over here. It's pretty neat. Now I just did this today. Oh, one more thing. Put this sign up, no left turn. I mean, these trucks with these trailers are trying to come out here and make this left turn, and it's not safe. There's no way because of the track coming here. So no, you have to go to the right. And right now, I guess that leads to the bit bucket over there. Okay, so today, and I put some signs up. There's a do not stop on tracks. Over there is a little guy carrying a box. He's working with these guys over here at building the house. Anyway, today I just did the wires for the telephone poles. Thanks to my mom for giving me, a long time ago, it's got to be 2 years ago, I asked for some thread. And she has this elastic thread. And don't ask me, I don't know anything about sewing. I don't know where you buy it. I don't know how you ask for it. All I know is I pulled it out and I started super gluing it to the poles and giving it that typical sag in the wires. And without getting too much into it, I mean, it's good enough for me. I think it looks really great. And I waited till the very end to do it because I know if I would have put it up, I would be reaching over and trying to do stuff, and I'd be knocking it over and ripping the poles down. So I'm sort of feel I'm completed with this area enough that I can do that. And I hooked it up to this transformer. So the transformer supplies power up the pole, goes across past the transfer station over to that pole, over to that pole, and then up to supply power to that light. And the dudes are there working on it. I put this sign here, the 35 mile per hour speed limit sign today. I just did this last night. I had my little general store and Woodland Scenics, I couldn't pass it up. I saw they had this farmer's market scene, and it's got the table with all the vegetables on it and the little buckets in front. Now it all comes separate. I mean, it wasn't real bad, but I had to super glue the table and stuff together because I knew it wasn't going to stay if I just put it there. So I super glued it all in there. And I'll show you later how I hook my people down. You can see it's not real obvious. It's not real bad. Like, you don't see a lot of focus. Can't get it in focus. Like glue or anything on their feet. And I use a combination of Scenic Express wax. There's little, just like paraffin or wax, and you can warm it up in your hands and then stick it under there, or maybe super glue, or the Scenic Accents from Woodland Scenics, where you can, it's a little glue you put on there. But again, down here in the basement, I got to leave it sit overnight on the bottom of their feet, and then you come back and it's clear and tacky, and you just stick them there. So all my people, recently all my people are held down that way. Doesn't seem to make, you know, too much of a mess if you have to move them. All right, let's move up here a little bit. What else did I do? Oh, can't see it. I think there's a trash can right over here. I put that there behind the ice cream shop and the billiards parlor. I put this girl over here sitting outside the ice cream shop. I built that picnic table. Just took a bunch of balsa wood one day and cut it up and super glued it together and threw it in some India ink. So I put her over there on that. That's pretty neat. I started putting people inside my cars. You can buy seated people from Woodland Scenics and put them in there. Let's see, what else? Oh, I bought these junk piles. Okay, let me zoom out. Remember, I had my trailer, you know, my ghetto guy over here, who finally got a road so he could get into his house, and he's got the trailer. And he's more out in the country. And I found these little piles of junk. Again, MB Klein model train stuff. I haven't done any scenicking around them. I mean, they're plasticky, and I just took them out and threw them there to see how they'd look, and I don't think I'm going to do much to them. They were already painted. You can buy them unweathered and unpainted, but it was like a couple bucks more to have it done for me. I can't see from this angle, but the two stop signs at the corners on the far right and the far left, I put stop signs in there today. I put this, I can't get an angle on it here. I put this girl in the Tahoe here, driving the Tahoe. Let's see, what else? Hope you're not getting bored by this, guys. I'm just walking around trying to think what I did. Oh, I got a UPS truck. I put him going through town. I'm going to shut off the video and move over to the other side here. Okay, there we go. The UPS truck, put that in there. That comes through town. Couple signs. There you see the railroad crossing sign and the one outside here. You've seen this before. I haven't done any work over here in the yard area and towards the edge with the mountain, but I wanted to show you something here that I did last night. My mountain comes up, and it was always, this was the first thing I did, so I wasn't real good at scenery at this time. But I found these campers, again, Woodland Scenics, a scene from them, and they had the tent and the log and the girl tending the fire and the guy sitting there and the hiker. So I thought they would be appropriate up here in the mountain area. All right, so what's next? Over on this side, I just have this small area that I need to scenic up along here. And I've been trying to think of how to put like a little berm or something, kind of like I did over there. See how I built that edge up over there so it wasn't all flat. And I wanted to do something like that here, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be enough room to do it. Anyway, but up here, here's my newest idea. I don't know if it's going to work, but okay. You come out of town, and this road Just comes down here and leads out into the north and the nether regions. We don't know where it goes. There's going to be a truck here collecting dirt. And here's what I'm thinking. Put a big pile of dirt here. This guy, who has a breakdown in his machinery, whoops, he fell over. Anyway, he was working on that until I knocked him over earlier. He's going to be working on that machinery that loads up the truck. And there's going to be a pile here which is supplied by the backhoe, or not the backhoe, whatever you call that thing, and excavator, I guess, if you want to be accurate. And since this is so long and skinny, why not make this guy be digging a ditch, like the whole way up to the road, or whatever the concept is, at least halfway down here. I'll get a ditch, and I'll make a ditch, you know, I did it before, like that one over there. Just dig into the foam, and then maybe lay some fiber cable or something that looks like little wires in there, so it looks like they're burying cable in there, and maybe halfway down it'll be buried, they'll be done, and then he'll be coming up here and it'll be open. Now, what would really be cool, and I saw this, there was a guy at York a couple years ago who had one of these excavators, and I don't know if this one will work, but you know, these things are articulated and you can move them if you loosen them up. And he had one that moved with a motor, and I'm trying to figure out how I can get this thing to simulate digging. Like, you know, obviously put a motor and it'll keep going back and forth as it spins, and this thing will like dig, but it has to lift up at some point, and I don't know enough about, you know, cams and all that stuff. I'm trying to come up with an idea how I can put a motor under the edge of the layout here with a wire that sticks up and hooks on and moves this thing, but I don't just want it to go back and forth. I want it to grab the dirt and at some point somehow lift up. So I'd have to do a pattern, something like that. So I'm gonna have to talk to my cousin about making a little cam or some kind of motor or something that would do that. I don't know, we might even look into Arduino board or some kind of computer board, maybe have two motors and have it control it and make it a neat little project. But that's, I mean, if I didn't want to do that, I could finish the scenery up on this area here in, I don't know, an hour. This whole thing, I could just make it my standard scenery like I do in here, and we'd be done with this. Then of course I want to put some fascia on the layout. I might use tempered hardboard or something like that, you know, masonite, and just go across here and maybe paint it black. So anyway, maybe I'll do a couple shots with the trains running around to finish out the video. I'm going to try my other camera. It's just going to be a test, and then we'll put them all together. Oh wait, I want to show you this. I want to show you this thing. It's the elephant in the room here. We keep going over it, and let me go. I'll be back. I'm going to go power this up and show you. Okay, this thing is cool. This, I think it's a Weaver mechanical refrigeration car, and it's got the little compressor down here and a sound unit in it. And randomly, it will just kick on three different, I guess there's three different lights, three different states of the compressor, and it'll make that sound. And it just sits over here as long as it's powered up on the siding. It's just kind of neat to have something different over here. I don't really run it, and it's pretty much to scale. It's very detailed. It's a nice looking car. I had a hard time finding it, but I mean, I've had it for years, but it's just, I never showed you guys before. This, along the spur here, this was a, I want to say it was an Atlas flat car that had a vehicle on it. And I got one of these K-line tanks, and got these little springs. I think they were already on there holding down the car, and I thought that looked really cool sitting there. I think this is the K-line also, this caboose. The only reason I'm showing it is because I forgot that it's smoked. That's the one that I did all the effort inside by putting the resistors so that I could run it off 18 volts and it didn't melt the stack down. So it was sitting over here smoking. It smells like vanilla. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to try to do some shots and maybe some videos with my other camera of the trains running by and put them at the end of the video. So hopefully I'll be back with some more updates in the future.
Roger here. All clear inbound, over. Roger that, out.